Hey, 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 hey. It's Thursday night. You know, one Thursday, we may start on time at some point.
Gotta keep them guessing, Rod. Gotta keep them guessing.
It actually may happen. I put a time out there just like we never start on time. But anyway, little technical difficulty. I actually had some stuff going on my computer and fighting with Google. And anybody that has a YouTube channel knows what it's like to fight with Google on stuff. But we are back tonight to talk some beer. Our man, Average Joe, now the YouTuber extraordinaire of the Beer Patrol, will be here in time to talk Oskar Blues. He's running a little bit behind now that he's a big creator out there. So we'll get him in at some point to talk about the beers, probably in the next 25 minutes or so. He's racing home right now. But, of course, I am Rajay here. You're on the channel. You probably know this already. But with me, I have, of course, Eric, a Lions fan from his channel out of Michigan. And then we got Todd with a channel to be named later. We have not decided yet, but we'll get him out there at some point. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing all right, man. Doing all right.
Doing good.
Yeah.
Thursday, ready for a brew.
There you go. Thursday. That's appropriate.
That is right. So how was your guys' work week this week?
Well, let's put it this way. I'm ready for a beer.
I am myself. So I am
Same here.
As I was just telling you guys, I have not had a beer the last 2 nights just because I was freaking pretty much drained. So looking forward to actually having one tonight. And since we're doing Oskar Blues, I think we all have this at one point. I don't know if we're all drinking it right now, but I'm just going to drink their Classic Dale's Pale Ale to get situated and started. And then, as you can see there, both Eric and Todd also have this. And this is really the one that kind of put them on the map, I guess you can say.
Yeah, for sure.
And this was actually, now it says North Carolina on the can, but initially they're from out in Colorado. They opened up another place there in North Carolina. And I was looking at some of the other cans on some of the other stuff. I've got the Fujili downstairs that I'll have as another beer. And that one is actually in Colorado where it is brewed. So they just moved their cans around. I think I saw they have another one out in the Southwest as far as a brewery too. So they have definitely done some growing for sure. And if you got some Dales at home, go ahead and throw it up there and enjoy, get your beer on. Eric's got his Sam Adams glass working. Probably put my thing up here so that see if this works. So you can see
one of the best pale ales probably I've drank.
You said Bass Pale Ale?
No, I said Dale's Pale Ale is probably the best ones I've drank.
I was like, they still make Bass Pale Ale?
Actually, I think they do.
Really? I've not had that for a long time.
They say it's on their bottle, they claim to be the oldest or first pale ale ever or something, I think.
Interesting. Let's see if that works. Yeah, there we go. Woo. Look at that. A homemade coaster right there. Sometimes you got to have a little bit of ingenuity. It's like I was watching Swamp People. And I don't know if you watch Swamp People or not, but good old Bruce had the boat. He couldn't get through the lilies. He hooked up a lawnmower to the front of the boat and cut his path through there. So that's ingenuity. I love me some Swamp People. I got it on the background now. But so are we doing all right, Eric, with the basketball? Are we good? We in good shape?
I guess so, man. But right at about the 10-minute mark, I go, well, if they can still play like this, we got a pretty good chance of winning the basketball game. But they got to play the entire game. Yeah. Well, what's his face there? I can't even pronounce the kid's name. He just anything he threw up kind of went in the basket behind the 3-point line. So,
you mean Brunson?
Villanova. What's that?
Brunson, the elbow thrower, dropping shots into people, never gets called for it.
Yeah, Booth. What's it, Bristol or what's that kid? Their big tall guy.
Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say it was like Broussard or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
He got into foul trouble, but then that one kid came in there, their 6th man of the year, award winner, dude, he just lit us up. He could have been a starter anywhere else, but he chose to go to Villanova.
He ended up getting most outstanding player, didn't he?
I think so.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the game, I'm like, I'm not watching him cut the net down off.
Well, you guys ran into we kind of ran into a West Virginia against them, and we had at least you had them at the first half tied, and we came out and they started calling these BS fouls that weren't even there. But
yeah, there was a couple of them for us too that I thought were a little bit phantom. I guess that's how I would put it. I mean, they're a physical team, but when you drop a shoulder into somebody, and that any other time that'd be an offensive foul, but not that night.
Well, that's the thing. We're physical when we play, but we were getting called, but they were physical and they weren't getting called. That's the thing that was like so painstaking. And then they like got our backcourt with like quick fouls and we were in foul trouble. So our two starters had to pretty much sit down in and out. And it was like they pulled away. But even then, we ended up losing by 12. I don't think any team played them as hard as we did.
Yeah.
As far as
but even in the second half, I mean, Michigan had to make the free throws to even have a chance, and they couldn't do it. So
yeah.
They're a bad free throw shooting team anyway.
I got to tell you, though, I like that Wagner kid. I like it. Hopefully he stays around. Is he? Because he's like underclassman, isn't he?
I hope he comes back.
Yeah, because we already got our center. He's actually going to test the NBA draft. He's not going to take a agent on so he can come back if he doesn't really do well. But
yeah,
I think Michigan had the only senior starter in the starting lineups.
Yeah.
Was that Robinson kid, Todd?
What was that now? The Muhammad Ali, Abdul Rahim, right? God, whatever his name was.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali, Abdul Rahman or something, or.
Yeah, I think he was. I could be wrong, but I think he was the only senior starter on either team. So Villanova could possibly return all 5 starters next year.
So in the chat, we have Chris on the 10th, who says, we owe first. He's got the police cars out. And then Craig responded with a police car. And then Chris responded with a police car, thumbs up police car. So they got a little police lingo going. Talking there, kind of highlighting towards the beer patrol. Craig says on the patrol for a beer flow. That's what he's trying to do there. I see what you're trying to do there, Craig. Chris says, yeah, baby. Craig says, rest in peace, Eric Bristow. Is that who it was? Eric Bristow? That's the guy?
Was it?
I don't know. I think Craig watched basketball. Brunson was the main guy, but Chris says hashtag Joe Diva as he's late since he started his channel. This is his first show after his channel started. Now he can't make it on time. So, yeah, I like the hashtag Joe Diva. Craig says, love Dale's Pale Ale. Chris said never had it. Had a little teardrop on the smiley or upset face, I guess you could say. First craft beer in a can, I think, is what Craig said. And Chris, I'm not going to say what you're enjoying just because Chris is drinking the IPA number 5, and he knows I hate mentioning it because that's why he talked about Canada's is IPA number 5. So Craig says he's been watching the Masters. I was actually watching that earlier today, had it in the background when I was working, and there was some good golfing going. Tiger's looking pretty good coming back. So he finished +1 on the day, but he hit some shots at some putts that you're like, if he hangs around, he could be a danger on Sunday.
Yeah. I've always been a big fan of Tiger.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of Sergio, so I got to admit, I laughed when he like 10 cupped it on the hole. He had to go in the water with the muscle.
Yeah, that was funny.
Eric's like, the master sucks. Craig says, no, 5 times world darts champion. So we'll do the rundown of Oskar Blues when Joe gets here because Joe likes to do the rundown on the breweries, and I really don't want to read that much, so we have him do that. As far as like beer news? Yeah, some of the beer news stuff. So in beer news, what we have is I just saw this came out earlier today. Budweiser. We don't talk much Budweiser on here, so don't get too excited, Eric. Don't get too excited now. Yeah! Budweiser is actually
I know.
The Budweiser is actually brewing up a Jim Beam bourbon barrel bourbon beer collaboration. So this is kind of interesting now because you have the macro coming down and try to get pretty much into the craft area. They've been buying craft breweries. I don't know why they want to make one themselves, but they're going to try to do it. They're going to have Budweiser Reserve Copper Lager will be aged on Jim Beam bourbon barrel staves. So
wait a minute. Hold on. So
hold on.
Are they taking Busch Signature Copper Lager, putting a Budweiser name on it, and then bourbon barrel aging it?
That could be the case.
What?
I wouldn't put it past them to do that. Knowing how the macro game is, yeah, that could be something they've actually done there. So, because a lot of people did like the Busch Copper series. So
I did. I thought it was really good.
They didn't give much feedback on what the Copper Lager, if it was coming over from their old Busch recipe or anything like that. But it'll be interesting. I mean, is that enough to make you say you want to try it?
I'll try anything once.
Yeah, since they're trying to get to the maybe craft beer area. I mean,
yeah,
I like Jim Beam and I like Bourbon Barrel. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm at the point now I'm already contemplating drinking the Pabst APA. I'm like, really? Do I got to try that one? I mean, it's Pabst, but they're making American Pale Ale.
I saw that today when I was at the store, and I was thinking, man, I gotta get one, but you couldn't just buy one. They were.
I mean, if I don't buy it, that would make me like an elitist, right? So, I mean, I got to get in there and try it too.
So one guy said on one of the Facebook beer or the beer group says, a shitty beer with a shitty bourbon. I was like, alrighty then, okay.
Yeah.
all around shitty.
Yeah. Craig says we get PBR in UK supermarkets now, apparently. So PBR is making their way over there. I mean, PBR has a pretty good run here. It's not surprising they're in the UK now.
I seen that Harry or somebody, Craig might know who it is, but someone posted on one of the beer tuber hangouts that they got like these, goodness, 18 or 20 ounce glass bottles of PBR.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird. Craig probably knows who posted it.
But you know, when you like take it overseas, like people like their stuff over there, just like some of the stuff we drink over here, Harry and I were surprised, and Craig, that we actually probably drink it just because like over there, it's like their shit beer or something. So, but yeah, so that's something to look forward to. So that'll be out around Labor Day. I'm sure we'll start seeing advertising for that and everything, which will be kind of interesting to see how people react to it. Like all these times, Budweiser has kind of made fun of the craft beer type area. Here you are trying to craft a beer now. So we'll see how that takes place.
That'll be interesting.
And then Gang, who actually has the line for the Game of Thrones beers, they have another one on the way called the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms, which will be the 11th official Game of Thrones beer from them. So I've only had a couple of the ones in the series, but the ones I've had have actually been pretty good. So this is another one to look forward to coming out this year. And this will be out before apparently the next season which is until like 2019 or whatever. So people that like watch Game of Thrones seem to be pretty teed off out there. So I've never watched any of it as well. Have you guys watched any of the Game of Thrones? Or
I haven't.
Yes.
Are you hooked into it, Todd? Or
yeah, it's pretty good. We didn't watch it up until probably, I guess the only season we actually watched when it was on was last season. So we got caught up on it, I guess, over the summer last year, maybe.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It goes pretty in depth though. If you got to really pay attention, so many characters, so many storylines to figure out. You get lost pretty quickly in it.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've seen like parts of it here and there because my wife watches. Like I'm walking through the living room or something, and she's watching it. But I just never really got hooked on it. She's like, you would like pretty much everything in it. It's got like violence. It has sex and nudity, and it has dragons. So like, who doesn't like dragons? So just never really sat down to fully watch it.
Yeah, I think you would like it.
Well, I got time to catch up. If it's not to 2019 for the next season, that's for sure.
Yeah, no kidding.
Else I got out there with Jessica Jones, and I just saw
started season 2. You started season 2 of that yet?
I haven't started that yet. I just started watching The Americans. I'm already an episode behind because I haven't watched it yet this week. And then Gotham, I watched that, and then they got like that show Legion on FX. I watched that because I'm huge into the X-Men type stuff. So It's like all these freaking shows, you know. And it used to be back in, you know, a few years ago, there was like one good show on, everything else was shitty. So you were good to go.
One good show on each network on different days.
Yeah, and now they're making all kinds of good shows on different stuff. Not to mention with Netflix or Prime or Hulu, and it's like you can't watch them all. So I got one of the guys telling me I need to watch The Terror, which is a new show, and I've started watching that a little bit, but I didn't get to watch it all. But he's saying how good it was at work.
I'm recording that one. I haven't watched it yet, but I've recorded a few of the episodes.
Yeah,
Sounded like it'd be pretty good.
Like the only thing I actually sit down and watch at any certain time is usually The Walking Dead. That's like the only one that I'm there.
I tried to get into that series and I can't get into it. I've tried.
Yeah, if you try to get in the wrong time, you wouldn't have stayed into it. Because I got into it, then I got out of it, then I got back into it, and now they're taking one of the characters that a lot of people like on the show. They're trying to cross them over. Well, they are crossing them over to Fear the Walking Dead, trying to get people to go that way. And it's like, don't really want to watch that one. I've seen that one, not really hooked into it.
It's not very good.
Yeah.
I've watched it up to this point just because I knew at some point they're going to probably try to cross them over or join them up or make it into one show or whatever. But
yeah,
the characters on there just aren't that interesting. The actors are just not great.
They got that little machete thing they throw in there once in a while. They did with the plane thing last time. And then it's like, stop with all this stuff. We're going to have like 5 SVUs. They're all be Walking Dead, though.
Yeah.
Well, you got SVU, what is it? You got a bunch of them. There was the original. Then
well,
there was
SVU was actually off of Law and Order. Really, the Law and Orders is what they were. Law and Order SVU, then Law and Order, the regular Law and Order. Yeah. It's like NCIS. Isn't there like 3 or 4 NCIS?
Yeah.
You know?
Chicago, Miami, LA, New York, or whatever.
They like one character takes a vacation, ends up on the other one on another NCIS show. Crazy, but
out here.
Let's see what other beer news is out here. Oh, I don't know if you saw. I posted on the Facebook page. Freaking living in Cincinnati, it's like you're almost used to like almost every day being a tap-in, but they got a new tap-in taking place at one of our Braxton breweries, which is Braxton Labs this Saturday, which is like our. They do small batch processing, but they got like a new stout they're working on. It's like too many beers. It's like real life trouble.
Yeah.
Miami is getting a bunch of cannabis beers. It seems like that's a big trend. So they're talking about some new beers that are about to hit that market, including from Devour Brewing Company. They are considered the first South Florida brewery to experiment with terpene-infused beers, which is terpene, as they're actually saying terpene-infused brew sets cannabis beer trend for South Florida. And terpenes are non-psychoactive flavor molecules responsible for the aroma and flavor in cannabis. So they're trying to get your beer to smell more like weed. Because they're
when you get high, you want to get drunk too.
I got to think you're drinking the beer, you're drinking that around a police officer. You're probably doing a little bit more than a DUI checkpoint. Not as you're driving, just like if they just smell you drinking that beer or something. But Devour Brewing Company, they're releasing one down there. Oh, so go ahead.
Isn't Florida kind of one of the more relaxed states on cannabis as it is?
I don't know if they're relaxed on it. I mean, they're not I don't know, California or Colorado. I just think they might be. I mean, they got like 6 different breweries doing it down there. So who knows? They might be.
It's got to be overpowering on some of those. Some of those smell like weed anyway.
Yeah,
without even using it.
And they're going to release it during a 420 party on April 20th.
There you go.
But this beer includes a pineapple and vanilla milkshake New England style double IPA. Brewed, Joe should be here. Brewed using a pineapple express terpene and a coconut porter that uses a special edition Girl Scout cookies terpene. I don't think Girl Scouts want to be associated with that.
Either.
They might have something to say.
It would definitely boost sales for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The tag-alongs and the Thin Mints.
But it is. Let me pull it up here. I'll show you the beer. The beer is a pretty looking one. I'll give them that. Let's see.
Like all of a sudden, I got the munchies.
Right?
Like I'll have some Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah. Or a beer.
I'm sure. How many do you want? Thought every one of them.
How many do you have? I'll take them all.
So here's the beer here.
Wow, that is hazy.
Wow. Beer Patrol. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a great looking beer. I'd throw that baby down. Look, Joe happened to show up when I said coconut. Can you believe that?
No, I heard all about the coconut up here.
So we're talking about these beers that are being launched in Florida, Joe. And welcome to the show with your new Beer Patrol logo. We saw that slide in there, son. We'll get to your first episodes and see what you think here in a second. But you're getting 6 different infused brews. I don't know if you ever heard of terpene before, Joe.
Never.
Okay, so this is basically, we were talking about, it actually is responsible for the aroma and flavor in cannabis. So now your beer's going to even smell like weed more. So, but this is one of the first ones from Devour Brewing. And I was telling them it includes a pineapple and vanilla milkshake New England style double IPA brewed using a pineapple express terpene and a coconut porter that uses special edition Girl Scout cookies. So that's what kind of made a little bit of interest in there. And then down here we have Twisted Trunk, which is another brewer, and their McFinn Irish Red Ale that'll also be released. Wow, I almost read that too fast. I thought it said the One Hitter Session IPA infused with White Widow terpene. And his McFish Irish Ale made with chocolate terpene. I need to do some more research on what this terpene really is. So that's that one. And then we have Holy Mackerel Small Batch Beer. Nice looking picture of that one, too. And this one is going to have New England style IPA that combines oats with Citra, Mosaic, and lemon drop hops, and the addition of sour diesel terpenes. The brewer says the terpenes give the beer an almost perfume-like aroma and a sweet, dank character. We got this one here, Invasive Species, Lemon Kush terpene, a pale ale. Incredibly herbaceous with a potent resinous aroma and flavor that are surprisingly reminiscent of the real thing. Smell like high, but you don't get high. You have Odd Breed, their wild ales, another one here. And I think Lauder Ale is another one. So just some interesting stuff as they come out with more of these things. New Belgium is actually releasing a hemp beer that'll also be coming out this year. And it'll actually be available in every state except Kansas, because Kansas bans hemp. So if you're a Jayhawk, you won't be getting that beer unless you cross state lines.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we got the cannabis infused beers out there. We got these terpene type things. We got these hemp type things. So people are definitely apparently trying to up the dankness for 2018 in beers. That's what I'm thinking.
The new fad.
Yeah. So what do you say, Joe? Beer Patrol, what do you got, man?
I went to a bottle share tonight, and I may or may not be drunk.
I feel like you measure your work.
Did you at least get an Uber, buddy?
I did have a DD, though, Eric, so, you know,
right.
I don't need the spiel. I listened to the 700 times that we do this show, so, you know, I'm on board.
You just tell me to F off, too. That'd be perfectly fine.
The best part about it, though, the last beer of the night was from the Vale in Virginia. They did a double coconut chocolate milk stout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
the best beer of the night. And I'm not saying that as a coconut fiend, but I'm totally saying that as a coconut fiend. So it was good times.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. I may or may not be hammered right now, though. So just letting you know. I don't know about reading Oskar Blues. Anything.
Well,
I don't know if I'm capable of reading right now, but I'm going to assume that it's a possibility. We'll figure it out as we go along.
Well, you're
so nothing changes then.
No,
you're the reader, man. That's your.
Yo,
We already got hashtag. What did Chris say? The hashtag Joe Diva. Hashtag Joe Diva. Was that what we had there earlier? Ever since you launched your channel, it's kind of put you in the diva category.
Yeah.
I tend to ignore what Chris says most of the time. How's the quality? I've been by reviewing digs, but I'm also on Wi-Fi, so I don't know if it's coming out all right. All right.
You sound fine to me.
Yeah, it looks good. Your camera's working better than mine is right now. I look like I'm in a haze or something here.
Are you still using that Logitech camera, Joe?
Yeah, C920, which is I think is like the standard for most people that do like live streams.
1080 then, right?
It's 720, but it still looks, I think, pretty good for the most part. The lighting is that, like, I got 2 soft boxes and a light and stuff, so I think the lighting is pretty good, which is probably what makes the quality better. I have no idea, though, because, again, I may or may not be hammered. So I'd assume it looks all right. We'll see.
You look fine to me, man. You look fine to me.
Chris said, fantastic background, Joe.
The pretentious beers. That's where they're at.
Where's your flag?
Craig said, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'll just say the flag I actually took down. I had them on like, the double-sided tape that you can get. The fabric, not a fan of that. But also, I got some good feedback. I'm going to mention this in the vlog that I do. Rod tagged me in, but got some good feedback. I'm going to actually change the tablecloth to a lighter, so there's more reflective light. But also, I'm going to get a couple beer tins. Like, I'm going to get a Founders logo, I think, and something else to go behind me other than the Sabres banner, just because the Sabres banner is cool. But also, you couldn't see it because I'm totally fat and in the way. So, like, you couldn't see the logo. It was just like the blue on the side. So I'm going to get a couple on each side, and it should be fine. But I do think you want it a bit lighter. I think with the black tablecloth and the blue banner, it was kind of a bit dark. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch it up. Although I want to say the next vlog and the next review will probably be just a blank background. So who the fuck cares, honestly? But that's what we're going to
do. Just do you, Joe. Just do you.
I'm going to do me. I'm totally eating food right now, so I probably should get some. But I don't know when we're going to do the Oskar Blues stuff, so I don't want to not do that. Just saying.
Well, Craig said Joe's fucked. Great.
Yo, on a scale of 1 to fucked, I'm hammered. So that's how we're going to do this. I think in like 2.5 hours, we shared 21 beers, and I probably had like 4 ounces of each. So I think the average was like 8 or 9%. So I'm glad I got a DD. Shout out to you, Eric. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm really glad.
And then Chris says, hashtag HD Joe Drunk Diva. Billy's what's happening, Billy? Back with Billy Craft Beer Reviews. I believe that Dale's Pale Ale is a bit overpriced. A lot of breweries have nice pale ales, and true, a lot of them do have. But my price on this one, $1.75. I'll take that. I'm happy with that on Dale's Pale Ale. So
I got the $1.99 special, baby.
Oh, baby, $1.99, baby. Dr. Roll the Pools of the $1.99, baby.
And it Horrocks.
Mine was just a little bit over $2 for the big one. I got the big can.
Yo, yeah. I got fucking Death by Coconut because I mean, come on. Why wouldn't I have Death by Coconut?
Why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't you?
This was actually bottled on 9/28/17, so we got like 6 months on it. No big deal. I'm sure the coconut is pretty fantastic.
And then Chris said, looks great. Greg said, no trolls, please. And then Billy said, I just popped in. Did Juice lose? I just popped in. Did Joe lose his channel? Yeah, the lighting is good. I dig the cans in the background, Joe.
I did start my channel, Billy. I don't know if you meant that, but yeah, I started my channel. It is as bad as you would expect it to be, but it is a channel. Things are happening. And I just want to shout out Todd. Todd, I appreciate you sending me Anchor Porter, man. I know no one really cares, but the fact that I wanted to do that as my first review and I couldn't find it, I appreciate you sending it my way, man. Really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Glad I could help out.
Appreciate it.
Sentimental tie to that beer.
Yeah, Todd is the corrupter, the true corrupter of beer team, not me anymore.
I'm the mastermind behind it all.
And I shouted out all you guys because you're all my friends and you guys have good channels, except for Todd because he doesn't have a channel, but maybe someday. I mean, I did.
Now I'm that guy.
Now you're that guy. Now you're that guy.
Yeah. So talk about your channel. Give your channel name so people know they can subscribe to it and how your first couple of videos went.
If you subscribe to it, as I like to say, hashtag that's on you. But it's the Beer Patrol, spelled Patrol Patroll, as in like internet troll, YouTube troll. I have a vlog talking about, like, I'm not totally not internet troll, but I like to poke fun at my friends. I mean, even here on the Beer Flow Show, we poke fun at one another because we're good friends, and that's what we do. Pretty much the exact same thing Eric does, same thing that Rod does: review beers, talk about beers. I only have 3 videos on my channel right now. The next couple should be out in the next day or two. Rod tagged me in a video before my channel started, so he gave me an honorable mention. That piece of shit.
Because officially you didn't have a channel. So
that's true, but you're a piece of shit still, Rod. And the thing is that I'm going to respond to it, and then I'm going to do another review, and then it's going to be after that. The next review I'm going to do is Ithaca Beer Company's Flower Power, just because that is the first IPA I ever had. And after the first 2 shelf turds, I'm going to move on to actual beers that probably people care about. But I enjoy it. Regardless of whether or not anyone else enjoys it, I enjoy it. And I like being a beer tuber now, and it's a lot of fun. So,
yeah. And speaking of that video, Craig, who's watching, was tagged in it too, as well as Neen. So they need there, and Eric, but Eric's already working on his thing.
Eric's working on his. I already gave Craig shit. He's like, "Oh, I fucking want the Hop City and blah blah." I'm like, you got tagged, so he knows now. Because I was gonna shout him out, but then I'm like, "Oh, you already did it." So the guys I'm gonna shout out is probably Peter, the Clueless Drinker, because I feel like it would be a great video for him to actually, I don't know, say stuff about his top favorite styles. And then the other guy is going to be Redbeard as well. Nick from Maxwell Star Beer Reviews and a couple others, but be curious to see some of these guys doing their top 5 favorite styles. I'm going to do a bit of twist on it. I know, Rod, you said that Beautiful Beer Reviews and the originator of your tag video, which is Han Yolo. I see what he did there. I understand it. But he said basically add your twist on it. I'm going to do top 5 desert island beer styles, which I thought would be kind of cool. Like if you're stranded on a desert island, what top 5 styles you would enjoy personally. So that'll be my twist, but pretty much anyone tag can do whatever they want. So
I thought you were doing dessert styles before.
I spelled desert as in D-E-S-E-R-T. I did not add 2 S's. Although top 5 dessert style beers, I'm on board. I'm on board.
That'll be an interesting video to do as well. So
I think it would be. I want to do Desert Island because so many people, regardless of like if you're in beer tubing or whatever, so many people are like, "Oh, what's your favorite beer? What's your Desert Island beer?" So I'm like, "Well, here's my top 5 Desert Island styles." Because if I'm straight on Desert Island, I need more than one style. I'm not going to drink the same beer all the time. So
right.
What about dessert beers on a desert island? Hey, yeah.
You should hear from guys that don't have a channel.
I have a channel now, so like that's not me anymore. Yeah. I'm happy about that.
Just saying.
Joe's like, what's wrong with this guy?
You gotta have a channel, bro.
But that, yeah, thanks. I just did that shout out with Todd with the Catalina and the Dank Candy too. So.
Yeah,
two really good beers.
Yeah, the Dank Candy that Todd said, like I enjoyed it, but like when beers say stuff, you're usually prepared for it. Like, oh, whatever's in it. When it was like it's super dank, I drank and I'm like, this is fucking crazy dank. Yeah, like I still didn't expect it. Like I'm drinking, I'm like, no, they weren't lying. Like this is super dank. Like I'm drinking weed. Like as we speak, I'm drinking marijuana in my glass. I enjoyed it, but to like a certain percent, I almost wish like I shared the can.
Yeah.
But it was exactly what it said on it, and I give them props for that because it was super dank. And it was quite bitter with IBUs, too. It was definitely bitter. Yeah. And you could be one of those people that are like, oh, man, it's too bitter. They told you it's going to be dank and bitter, so, you know.
Yeah, I think that was when it was 100 IBU on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
That one was pretty good.
Yep.
And it wasn't like one of the ones like that were malted out at that high level. It was, you felt the bitter.
Oh, you felt it all right.
This summer, I'll get you guys some more stuff from both those breweries, Mile Wide and 450 North.
And once the beer mails are not confiscated and searched, I think we're ready to go.
I still got yours, Tom. But see, that's the funny thing. Like when I got mine coming back from Todd, who sent it to the wrong ad, like I went in there and the box was open. Like, wow, you guys didn't take anything? They're all here. It's like,
Well, I've heard over the last couple of weeks, like a couple of friends of mine have sent beer mails, and they've actually made them open it up. Like as they go, they're like, "Hey, open it up," and they're like, "Well, what do you mean? Like it's already sealed. Open the fucking beer mail up or whatever mail up." And they did, and they're like, they don't care. I think it was UPS and someone did FedEx. They don't care that it's beer. but they're like, as long as there's not a bomb in there or something that's like going to get you in trouble, you're all right. But at the same time, it's like, it's kind of shitty that you got to do it, but I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
But I gotta think there's one guy around there waiting. Like, if they're not here by closing time, that box is mine. Then he comes back
like shit.
They come back and find the person picked it up. Like, God damn it!
I can see that.
Son
Totally.
of a bitch.
Was that close?
He was calling his wife. I got a box. I'm bringing home, honey.
Pour this death by coconut because who doesn't like coconut?
If anybody,
Eric, never mind. Eric doesn't
watching
like
out there, a Chicago fan, Goose Island has been named the official beer of the Chicago White Sox for 2018.
That's on the Chicago White Sox.
Thing or a bad thing?
It's on the Chicago White Sox. Yeah.
If you go to the White Sox games, you're Goose Island. Get your goose on.
How many of you guys have, aside from Eric, have had the death by coconut? You guys have all had it, right?
I've had it. Yeah.
Yep. I was actually going to pick it up for tonight, but I decided not to.
That is going to be left on the shelf from where I'm at.
Eric, you just settle down. Also, enjoy some coconut in your life. That's a great thing. Like, you get, when it comes to beer in general, but like Eric over there, he doesn't like coconut, and I love it. It's just great to see something like that. And no one's wrong.
Well, it's a little bit more ahead before we get into Oskar Blues, but Death by Coconut was actually the one that kind of turned me to trying other beers with coconut because I hated coconut, but that one was so smooth. I started trying other ones.
The funny thing is like, all my friends on here on BeerTube know that I love coconut. You guys all know that, but like in real life, like outside of beer, I don't just roll with like multiple coconuts in my house at all time and I just like gnaw on it or whatever. Like it's one of those things I enjoyed as an adjunct. And truth be told, when it comes to beer, I actually prefer the toasted coconut character that barrel aged beers present. So if you guys out there haven't had Firestone Walker, they do their barrel-aged English barley wine Sukaba and their barrel-aged Imperial Stout Parabola. The characters that I get from that beer, which is basically toasted coconut, is actually better than the real coconut flavors I get in like a Death by Coconut. It's really weird, but there are a lot of barrel-aged characteristics. I've even got it in Bourbon County. I've got it in Founder's Backwoods Bastard. I actually prefer that to real coconut, and I don't know why. Probably because I'm an idiot, but even so, like... toasted coconut fake character, toasted coconut real character, it's where it's at. But those barrel-aged beers they vibe with me. It's really crazy. I wish it was easier to get so I could send it to you guys and you have a better understanding like the Firestone Walker stuff, but it's crazy to see a barrel-aged component have better or more enjoyable toasted coconut flavor than like an actual toasted coconut beer. It's insane to me.
Well, we just started getting Firestone Walker a couple weeks ago. But it's just the base stuff right now, so
you'll see the stuff. Now they come in the 12-ounce bottles, so they're better. The prices are a bit better. Like they used to be in the 22-ounce bombers, and they'd be like anywhere between like $18 to $25. Now they come here, at least locally, and I'm sure it'll be the same in your area, Todd. Like $9.99 for a 12-ounce bottle, which is expensive, but try it once or to give it a go. It's not that bad. You don't have to spend $20, $25 at least. But I'll be curious to see what you think about it.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get those this summer.
I think you will. If you get the base stuff, you'll probably get the specialty stuff in the near future.
Yeah.
Well,
looking forward to them.
We got a lot of comments out there. So
Jesus, I can't read too well. Just saying that from the get-go.
So let's see here. Beer Patrol #1 super fan.
That's great.
OMG, it's the legendary Beer Patrol. Backwoods Billy, 12 a 6-pack versus $7.99 to $9.99. Big difference. I don't know what the $12.99. I've never seen a $12.99 6-pack at Dale's here. So I don't know if there may be more just on the East Coast.
Yeah. I don't even see. Here's a problem with Dale's Pale Ale. I don't know if you guys have ran into it. I can't really find it fresh. And when I say fresh, I don't mean like 2 weeks old. I mean like if I could find Dale's Pale Ale like under 2 months old, I'd fucking do cartwheels. And I'd videotape it or record it, but I can't. Like every single time Dale shows up, it's like 3-4 months old. It's crazy that they don't.
This one's 2017.
See,
see, 8/20. So I didn't even think about that when I got it. That's a great. We needed for.
So there you go. You guys have 6 to 7 months old bottles. How about or cans? How about you, Todd?
Mine's February 21st of this year.
That's the freshest I think I've ever seen.
Todd's in the hot spot.
And it's one of the big. It's one of the big boys.
And the
Big games.
caveat being, think about this. Oskar Blues has the East Coast brewery, and I still don't see it that fresh. They have a fucking North Carolina brewery. They're like, if it's like under 3 months old, you're fucking lucky.
But see, here's the thing, though, right? So we're talking about this one out there, and it still drinks pretty damn decent right now.
No, it's one of those beers that I don't think you need it super fresh because it's such an old recipe that, like, if you get it 2 weeks old to 2 months old, you're not going to see a huge difference. But I mean, any pale ale you probably want fresh. But yeah, it definitely ages well for what it is. I'd agree.
And Beer Patrol #1 super fan, Rod, quit your channel. No point losing to Joe.
I don't know. He's not losing much. Let's say that.
You cannot compete. No one can. Chris says plug time. Beer Patrol #1 super fan. All the women want to sleep with his channel. All the men want to be his channel.
All right, so we're going to say this, Rod, as you were the man reading the comments this evening. If you just want to ignore what Greg, a.k.a. Beer Patrol #1 superfan says, that's fine with me.
Billy says, Joe, I will have to sub your channel, put a comment in so we can support your channel. So they want you to type in comments, although you can put a full sentence together or not.
I mean, I can try. I'll just say hi, and I think that'll work.
Chris says, type something, Joe. Billy says, actually doing an interview tomorrow at the local brewery. Will probably be up next week in an article in May. That's pretty cool. So good luck on that, Billy.
Nice.
I'll check that out on your stuff too, on your channel.
Yeah, for sure. Good luck.
Check out Backwood Billy. I actually loved his enthusiasm with the juices loose. His enthusiasm was off the hook there. So
and I do like local interviews with whether it's breweries or bottle shops or whatever local. Like a lot of people out there, like I won't watch a review from someone if I can't get the beer.
Yeah.
For me, I'm ignorant to a lot of things outside of my area. So if someone is doing an interview or going to a brewery I've never seen before or heard of, that just makes me smarter. And I know that's tough to do because I'm pretty stupid. But like to gain the knowledge, pretty fun. So.
Yeah, I know some people don't watch a video if they can't get the beer. I'm like, I watch all the different videos. I watch it for the person and the personality doing it. So the people I watch, I don't get the beer or not. And if I see it, then I'll see it down the line. And
if it's your friend, or someone you know in the beer tubing community, then you have a good, selling point of like if you do a beer trade, you're like, hey, can you get that beer? Because that sounded really good, and I'd like to try it out. So to do the whole, I'm not gonna ever watch somebody's review that I can't get. I feel that's a bit ignorant. But again, I'm an idiot, so who knows?
And then Billy says, can I go back up here because it scrolled on me.
Yeah, don't read Greg's comment, please.
No, well, Greg, I gotta read. That's pretty funny. You can't ask God to type something. Paul's in the house. Paul says Imperial Stout, Double Imperial Stout, Bourbon and Imperial Stout, Scotch Aged Imperial Stout, Brandy Aged Imperial Stout. Simple. But he did say heated. He forgot to put heated.
Yeah, and Paul, quick reminder for you. I'm tagging you in my video so you can do all those stupid stouts that you talk about, like whatever. You do your top 5 styles, but I'm tagging you, motherfucker. Nice.
Billy says, what about Sports Illustrated swimsuit models on an island?
I'm on board.
Yeah. That shouldn't even be a question on the island, right? So
right.
Paul says, my UPS guy leaves my packed in. What? My UPS guy leaves my packed in trees and under rocks somewhere around my house.
I'm not even joking around. He's 100%. So I sent him a beer mail. It had to be like a year and a half ago. And I went to UPS and it said it was delivered. And Paul's like, I don't see it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what do they do with it? He has like this little small trailer, like down so Paul is in the true backwoods of Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah.
You are in the backwoods of Pennsylvania is Paul. He has like a 1/4 mile dirt road for his fucking driveway. So he has like this trailer, and the UPS person put it on his trailer, which is on a side of a hill. Like, I don't even know how to explain it. But Paul's like, I had to walk my entire property for like 20 minutes, and I finally found it. Yeah, that's where Paul lives. So I get what he's saying.
Paul probably has a lot of flannel in his closet.
Probably.
Woods. Oh, you meant to say packages, but yeah. So Craig says, hi, Paul. Billy says, the only one that cares is the U.S. Post Office. FedEx, UPS are good for beer mail.
I enjoy UPS. Yeah, I think UPS does a good job, and they're reasonably priced. I've never had I don't know if there's fucking wood anywhere, but yeah, whatever. They do a pretty good job.
Usually pretty fast.
Yeah, and they're reasonably priced. Like, I mean, all the beer mails I sent to these guys were like $15 or less, and I've sent them all like 6 to 8 to 10 beers, and it worked.
I would say the big thing though is what I found out: do it online and get your label, and then drop it off. Because I went to the place, they measured, it came out to be more.
Yep, Rod speaks the truth. All you have to do is know the weight of your package, the dimension. You do it online, you save a good like $3 to $5 for every package. That's the way I do it. You can print out your label, put it right on the box. You walk to UPS, any kind of UPS, you hand it in. All they do is like weigh it and scan it, and you're done. But then again, nowadays in this new age, like post last month,
open your box.
Open your box. I'm like, I don't want to. Everything's perfect.
I do mine. I do mine on my labels online, and I stick it out with the rest of our UPS stuff at work.
Yeah. Well, you're Todd. That's
if I go to the office, I can do that at work too. Just leave it there for them.
I hate both of you.
So then they just mix it all in with our stuff, and it's like it's gone. So
Sunday beer for Sucky team in the Sucky city. So he's Sucky beer for a Sucky team in the Sucky city, talking about Goose Island and the White Sox.
Oh, I thought you talking about Buffalo, and I'd agree. Yeah. With that. I didn't know what the beer was.
Billy says barrel aged beer, 2 biggest heavy C's, and Firestone Walker.
I'd agree. I actually have a couple heavy C's in the cellar, ready to drink. Maybe a cellar reserve someday.
And then Paul says, much like Sierra Nevada, not a fan of Dale's Pale Ale either. And you need a nice thick,
big, beautiful woman.
We're not going to say Paul's comment.
I will say Paul's comment because I'm fucked up and I don't care. But he says you need a nice thick BBW girls on an island so they keep longer. Yeah, I disagree with him at all.
He says I just assume cannibalism will be a necessity at some point, though.
I can't agree with that comment. I don't know what that is. That's Paul being Paul, right? That's Pauling.
Oh yeah. So you want to talk Oskar Blues or?
Yo, if I wasn't hammered, that'd be hilarious. Here's the thing.
You want me to talk Oskar Blues?
I mean, if you can, that would be the preference just for the viewers mostly.
But I'm thinking
I could do it.
It'll probably be one of the highest rated episodes ever with you trying to get through everything.
I mean, here's the honest to God truth. Like usually when we do these, I do a little bit of research, maybe like, at least 15, 20 minutes. I look at the Wikipedia and the website and figure out what I'm doing. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing right now at all.
All right.
So if you want to do it, I'll be a passenger on this train wreck.
I'm not that much more ahead of you, but let's see. Oskar Blues location, and this is where it gets a little tricky. A location, Longmont, Colorado, but you'll see Brewery, North Carolina on your can. And there is a state, I can't think of the one out west. Is it Texas or wherever? They have another place too. 140 opened in 1997, 149,000 U.S. beer barrels, and they have annual production on this back in 2014. So they were putting out a good amount of beer, I guess, for a micro, but they weren't a huge by any means. Oskar Blues Craft Brewery. There it is, Longmont, Colorado, Brewery, North Carolina, and Austin, Texas. So down by Drunken One, he has one of their little spots. Company has been a brew pub in Lyons since 1997 and began brewing beer in the basement in 1999 and 2002. Became one of the first to put their own craft beer in cans. And if you know Oskar Blues, all their beers are in cans. In 2012, they began marketing some of the craft beer in resealable aluminum containers. And in 2012, they expanded and established another brewery, which is the one in North Carolina. Unlike many craft breweries, Oskar Blues only packages their beers in cans and kegs, not bottles. Interesting to see if the tariff affects them, though, when they start switching stuff up, or if that ends up hurting them a little bit, since aluminum is going to be part of that. As far as the history with the Oskar Blues, original grill and brew restaurant founded in Lyons, Colorado by Dale Cactus. 2 years later, he began brewing beer in the basement of the restaurant. Some credit Oskar Blues as the creator of the first released canned craft beer in the United States with the release of Dale's Pale Ale in November 2002. Other writers point to an earlier beer, Chief Oshkosh Red Lager, which was brewed and canned at an existing brewery as the first canned beer in 1991. Although its producer, the Midcoast Brewing Company, closed in 1994, four of the companies produced canned craft beers prior to Oskar Blues, although the canning was done by larger companies under contract. Regardless of the first, by 2011, About 50 U.S. craft brewers were issuing craft beer in cans in 2009. Oskar Blues sponsored an event called Burning Can, which brought together other craft brewers who were using cans for beers. So they were kind of a driver in the whole can for a lot of the craft beer type stuff for sure.
Yeah,
They're
the pioneers of it.
Yeah, they are the largest craft brewery by volume in the U.S. to eschew glass bottles. In 2011, they produced and canned 59,000 bottles of beer. 59,000 barrels of beer. In 2013, they employed over 270 people and distributed it to 32 states. So they got a nice distribution to be one of the. I wouldn't consider. I don't know. What is your typical craft brewery? You think what they usually produce? Like 100,000? Not typical. I mean, you got a lot that are around 25 to maybe 40,000 barrels or whatever. I'm just trying to think of a typical.
Yeah, I think 100,000 for some reason is kind of like the benchmark type number.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I would think.
So I guess they are one of the bigger boys in that regard. The Colorado facility grew to 35,000 square feet by 2013. So they opened a satellite in North Carolina with initial production of 40,000 barrels, which can be enlarged to 85,000. But Colorado and North Carolina is one hell of a community, if you ask me. 45,000 barrels of beer were brewed at the Brewery in 2013, the first full year of production. The company plans to increase that to 120,000. The Longmont factory in Colorado is available for tours and features the Oskar Blues Tasty Weasel Tap Room overlooking the brewery. The original Oskar Blues Grill and Brew is still located in Lyons with 45 beers on tap.
45 beers. Nice.
It's a nice lesson, yeah. So you look at their beers that they actually have. They got 8 year-round production beer. So this is like their core. They got Dale's Pale Ale. Obviously, we're drinking it here. All except Joe, who's got the coconut right there right now. Old Chub, which is their Scotch Ale. I think everybody's pretty familiar with that one. They have
Old Chub's a good one. I think a lot of people, when they get in Scotch ales, they don't remember that one. They should.
Among medals, actually, with the Old Chub, got a dash of. Among other medals, Old Chub won a bronze medal in the 2011 Great American Beer Fest Scotch Ale category. It was originally named HYA, little trivia for you, which stands for Here's Your Ass, and renamed Old Chub when it went into production. Good Night is a hybrid version of a strong ale, somewhere between Imperial Red and Double IPA, and I've seen that one around as well. That comes in at 8.7 ABV. 1050 Imperial Stout, the Mama's Little Yellow Pills, which is pretty common. The Governor.
1050 right here.
Yep. The Governor, and then Death by Coconut. All of those make up their kind of core lineup of the beers. And really, that's what Wikipedia has to say about it. So, and then, of course, they come out with the barrel-aged
1050.
Yeah, so I got one of those in the cellar, which I haven't drank yet. I need to, though. But as far as their core beers, that's what they got. What'd you say? You cut out. What?
Excuse me, what now?
Tequila aged.
Tequila aged what?
1050.
Oh, do they really?
Wait a minute. Say it. What about the age?
Tequila aged 1050.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Tequila aged 1050.
Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth?
I understand the words coming out of my mouth. No, I don't.
Nobody understands the words coming out of your mouth.
I don't. And I'm hammered, and I probably should, but I don't.
I didn't know they had a tequila barrel one. That'd be interesting to check out.
At the Sheraton, I had the Boulevard Tequila Barrel Aged Goza. Tastes like a margarita. It's pretty good, but that's neither here nor there.
Sounds like interesting now.
No, like if you guys get Boulevard, right? All you guys.
I get some of them. I've got a few of their beers, like 3 or 4 that have been coming through lately.
I honestly don't know for me.
The tequila barrel aged Goza almost tasted like a subtle margarita in beer form. It was pretty tasty. It was like one of those beers I wish it was 80 degrees outside and you could just hang out and drink like all of them.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was 35 degrees out and snowing, so not as great.
Let's see here. So just to break into the comments, PA Brew says Joe Drunk, fantastic. Chris says cashed out on camera, Joe. Backwoods Billy, have to hit the gym so I can get to bed early for the interview at the brewery tomorrow. Plus, I have to select a new headshot for my articles in the afternoon. Cheers, and thanks for joining for a while, Billy. Good luck on tomorrow and everything.
Yeah, good luck with the interview, man. Should be a good time.
And then we have Paul. Well, actually, nope. We went to jump to Superfan because Paul.
Message retracted. What a piece of shit.
No, he's going to have to hold his hair back.
What the fuck are you talking about, Greg?
Paul says not just one brewing place, not just a small nano brewery ran by hipsters with pointless style beers and hashtag tattoos. Well, they must all be macro drain pours like Lagunitas now, right? It's a question mark.
What is he talking about? Like, I don't even understand.
He hates Lagunitas for whatever reason.
Yeah, what do you hate Lagunitas for?
Yeah, Lagunitas. No, I think Paul likes Lagunitas, but somehow in his little rant there got misconstrued. I think. I hope.
Superfan. No, he said the Superfan Jimmy Exposer. I figured it was either Jamie or you that ran it.
It's Greg. It's Greg Bylog. He's the Superfan #1. He's doing a terrible job. Ignore him.
Joe's quality is so good, he's blocking others. This is just the beginning.
I hate you, Greg.
I still have Paul's BA 1050 in the fridge at home, saving for when we can get together again. Oh, that's nice, Craig. Paul says, Ron, I think he meant to put Todd.
Fix your shit, millennial. Yeah, that was for Todd. Totally for Todd. I would agree.
Superfan PA troll equals average dad for those not in the know. And Brew News, I saw Boulevard when I was up there with you, Eric. That's what Paul
We have to do Boulevard on the channel then at some point. If we all get it, we have to do it at some point then.
Yeah, so Eric didn't realize it. It's good to know. So
Eric's too. So Eric, I just want to shout this out. I'm sorry to take off topic. Going over to my cousin's house for WrestleMania because we watch wrestling at this point in our life, and that's on us.
Did you say WrestleMania?
WrestleMania, baby. WrestleMania? I did say Methalmania, baby. The WrestleMania Dr. Rhodes would know if he's alive, but he's not. The thing is that my cousin is a Labatt Blue Light drinker. So I, because of you, mostly, Eric, I got a Miller Light, a Bud Light, and a Coors Light, and we're going to do a blind taste testing. It's not going to be on camera.
Oh, come on, man.
But I think it's because he's one of those guys like, I know what Labatt Blue tastes like, Labatt Blue Light. And I'm like, you're an idiot. You don't know. He's like, I'm totally. I'm like, all right, we'll do it. We'll fucking do it. So I did it. And we'll see what happens. But I don't think Labatt Blue.
It's going to be like a showdown?
Yeah. And I told him, I said, what if your favorite is like Miller Lite? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, will you buy Miller Lite for that? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, you're an idiot. Because if you like Miller Lite, say over all the rest, wouldn't you just start buying Miller Lite because it tastes better to you?
I haven't even done Labatt Blue Light on my channel.
I don't know. Sounds pretty terrible.
You know who likes showdowns?
No, I got a bunch of other stuff I'm bringing over because his like significant other likes craft beer, but he doesn't. It's weird. It's a whole thing.
So, in talking Oskar Blues, what are your guys, as Joe would say, what are your thoughts on Oskar Blues? Or however, Joe, you lead this part. They go get a beer anyway. So
okay. So Todd, what do you feel about Oskar Blues? What was your first experience with them, and what was the first beer you drank? Yeah, I can do this. I'm almost sober.
Almost. Let's see. They started coming in my area in 2013, I believe. Which I guess when Rod mentioned that's when they started hitting distribution in most states. And Bell's Pale Ale was the first one, which is why I got one tonight. It was the first beer from them that I had. And as usual, just started out with their base beers, the Old Chug, Bulls, all their standard stuff. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of excited to try them because I really haven't bought much Oskar Blues and the Death by Coconut. Not one I really seek out on a regular basis anymore. So I was kind of excited to do it tonight because I was anxious to kind of go back and revisit them. I do like the Dale's Pale. I think it's a pretty good pale ale. So really like the Canadian Pale double IPA. It's good. Overall, I'd put him at about a 3.
No ratings yet. No ratings yet. Let's just settle down.
Okay.
Just settle down.
Yeah, I mean, they're good. They're nothing. They don't do anything really out of the box, but they do some pretty good stuff. I like them.
All right, how about you, Eric? Since Rod's not here and fucking off at this point.
Well, I haven't had much experience with Oskar Blues. I've only had the Dale's Pale Ale that I've gone through right now, and I've had the 1050, their Imperial style, which I just about ready to pour in this glass, or almost done pouring in this glass. Based on these two, and this is only just based on these two beers that I've had, I mean, I like what I've tasted thus far. No, I haven't had any of the other beers in their base beer pack. I probably really should have bought their variety pack when I was at the beer store the other day. I can't remember how much it was or anything, but I seen it sitting there, and I probably should have bought it. But yeah, from just these two, I mean, I'm gonna venture out and probably get some more of their beer styles and see how they drink and see how they taste and all that stuff. Because I've been based on this, I've been pleasantly surprised by what I've drank thus far.
Nice. Oh, that's cool. That's cool to hear. Somebody who has limited experience with it. Always a good time. How about you, Rob?
American Adjunct Lager drinker at that.
Yeah, it's been Miller Lite is the shit, according to Eric. How about you, Rod? What is your experience? Ever had? If you bring up a rating, I might have to just punch you in the dick. But aside from that, like just regular, what you enjoy.
Hey, settle down there, Paul. Settle down.
Could you repeat the question? So I'm trying to think of all the ones I've had from Oskar Blues. I mean, Dale's Pale Ale was the first one easily that I had from them, and I've had so many other ones over time. Of course, 1050, and this is actually the first time I'm going to drink this one. This is the Fugili.
I've never seen that one.
It's a Fugli, Fugli, F-U-G-L-I. It's actually Fugli, not Fugili.
Fugly.
Let's just hope it's better than the movie Gilly, because that was not a good movie.
Yeah, you ever bring up a Ben Affleck flick again? I don't know what's going to happen, but it's not going to be good.
But all of them, I mean, they're a pretty decent brewery. I found a lot of their good beers. I know Billy had commented out there earlier about like thinking the price or whatever, but depending on what you're getting, I think there's going to be some things that might be a little bit higher than more. I mean, you're going to get, like you get the bourbon barrel aged canned Oskar Blues. I forgot what I paid for it downstairs. I think it was $11.99 or something. So you'll pay for it.
Right.
But there's other ones you're going to pay for like that too, that, you know, KBS or some of these other ones come out. So not every beer is going to be definitely down in a pretty good price area. But I think I've been pretty pleased with them for the most part over a period of time. I can't think of anyone that I had with them that really wasn't a good beer. I think they've all been pretty solid. They seem to do a pretty good job overall. That I have no complaints against them, really.
No, I agree with mostly what Todd and Rod said. I know Eric, you know, kind of an incomplete rating because he's just kind of getting into them. But you know, for me, my first beer I ever had from them was Old Shub, which when I first got into craft beer, I was recommended the beer by at one of the local bottle shops, and I didn't know what I was drinking back then. Like I was like, I guess this is good, but I don't really know what a Scotch, Scotch ale is. What is it? Is it heavy? What is it? I don't know. But as I got into the Oskar Blues stuff, I really do enjoy it. With so many of these breweries that we do on here, I don't want to say they've kind of fallen behind the times, but they kind of have. Oskar Blues does a great job at creating beer that's awesome in like a lot of the older styles or a lot of the non-popular styles, with the exception of 1050. I think 1050 is a world-class imperial stout. Yeah. The barrel-aged version, though, like you said, Rod, you bought it in $12.99. You didn't want you paid. I like the barrel-aged version, but I don't know how much better it is for me personally than the regular version. So when you're talking $4 a can for the regular version compared to $12.99 for, 12, 13, 14 bucks for the barrel-aged version, I still think I'd pick the base version more often than not. But they make good beers, but it's one of those things like I don't know if you guys discussed Green Flash at all tonight and the issues they're having, but Oskar Blues seems to be kind of going down that road. I don't know how many people drink a lot of their core offerings anymore. I really don't. I've never heard someone just be like, yo, I got a case of Dale's Pale Ale in my fridge. I don't ever hear anything like that. I've never heard about like buying 6-packs or 4-packs or anything of these beers. The most I've heard anyone say is like, I got some, like Paul said he bought a case of 1050, but that's Paul. He's Sessions Imperial Stout, so he doesn't count. They're a good brewery, but I'm kind of worried that in a year or two, they might not be as prevalent as they are nowadays. That's my concern with them. So,
yeah,
good stuff.
It's kind of It's kind of sad to see that you get some of those breweries like Oskar Blues, and they kind of do some of the base stuff, really well, but they do tend to get kind of left behind because they don't venture out too much on new stuff or what's current or whatever.
I feel they get a little bit of a I think they're. I don't want to say. See, I don't want to use the word overrated, but I will just because I'm drunk and I have no idea what I'm doing. But I would say they're a bit overrated just because of the way Sierra Nevada is in a lot of respects. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale is a classic American beer. Like I think we can all agree on that. Sierra Nevada Pale Ale is like the essential. Like a lot of people look at like America Anchor Steam as being like the OG craft American beer in the last 40, 45 years, and I'll give that to them. But again, I don't see too many people who buy Sierra Nevada Pale Ale on a regular basis, stock it in their fridge, drink it all the time. It's cool that that was the beer that got so many people turned on to it. And Dale's Pale Ale was I want to say, I'm pretty sure Oskar Blues was the first brewery, craft brewery, that started canning their beers, all their beers, no bottles. It's the only brewery that did that back, I don't know how many years ago. And that's cool. That's like something they'll always be remembered for. But that doesn't mean their beer's great. So many people lose sight of the facts like, oh, all your stuff's in can. That doesn't mean anything. That's cool that they're in can. Now, all beers are in can. Like so many beers are in can. Dale's Pale Ale is a good Pale Ale, but it's just kind of gets lost in the shuffle when you compare it to stuff nowadays. So I kind of feel like they're riding on their reputation from 10 years, 15 years ago. And nowadays, it's a struggle for them to really make a mark in the marketplace, so to speak. So,
by the way, we covered the cans when you were passed out.
Well, that's partly on me.
You beat me to it. I was going to say the same thing.
Is that what you guys did? Okay, well, if someone could have fucking clued me in, that would have been great. I figured you guys.
But I figured somebody in the comments would get him. So
I'm sure.
The only person in the comments is Paul. And does anyone care about Paul's comments? Let's be honest. No,
but
we don't want to read them.
I mean, I think you hit on a point with them being somewhat out there for a while. I don't want to say dated, but yeah, they've been around. But the thing is, they've got a good core lineup, so their core beers are still delivering some. Now, if someone's looking at a beer to cross over from macro to craft, I think you have some choices with Dale that aren't going to disappoint you possibly. So in that way, they've kind of been nice as a stepping stone maybe for some people.
Yeah, and don't get. No, go ahead. Todd.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Todd.
I was going to say, would you kind of put them in a category as if you're out at a restaurant and they've got a select few to choose from, but a Dale's or Oskar Blues in general is one of them? Would you gravitate towards them just because it's maybe the best of offering that they have?
Depends on what else is on tap.
Yeah. So I'm saying, in comparison of some of the other.
I mean, if you went to a bar, they had like Oskar, they had Dale's Pale Ale, they had Sam Adams Lager, they got their Bud or their Miller, and they've got like maybe Sierra Nevada Pale Ale. I might go Dale's. I mean, I go Sierra Nevada Pale Ale if I want a classic thing too, but it would be one of the two choices. Most likely would be either Dale's or Sierra Nevada.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was going with it. Nothing like extravagant, but just kind of your bar type base.
I mean, it's like the Dale's Pale Ale is a clean, crisp pale ale, just like Sierra Nevada. It's solid. It's dependable. It's like your old slippers. So you can put them on and you know where you're going. You're comfortable with them. It's always going to fit nicely. So you really can't complain.
I will also say this, as much as I talked about and we mentioned as a whole that Oskar Blues is just a classic American brewery, and they make classic stuff. They have come around in the last couple of years, from what I'm drinking, Death by Coconut, to the Barrel Aged 1050, to someone mentioned in the comments, I can't remember, it might have been Craig, about the Nitro Old Chub. Mm-hmm. And you're drinking the Fugly. They came out with their IPA that was brewed with, I can't forget, I don't remember the hops, but it was like one of the newer age hops. They still try to keep relevant and current. Yeah. So I give them props for that, because there's a lot of breweries that don't. I mean, Sierra Nevada does. A lot of the breweries do, but I think they do a good job. I just think for Oskar Blues, they don't have a ton of beers.
I would say like breweries like Oskar Blues and Sierra Nevada are what I would consider to be, although Sierra Nevada, I would say a little bit more, they'll take a little bit more risk, but they're kind of like measured breweries. They're calculating all their moves kind of, so they're not going to get too much out of the box, but they're going to try to get something out there that might be a little bit different. But they're going to make sure it's going to be something that's going to – they don't want to get hit and get out there with something that's not going to sell, and they kind of get hit for it by sales being down, so to speak. So
I wouldn't be in this, and as you say that, I will say this: I wouldn't be surprised if their North Carolina brewery something happens in the next year or two. Just saying.
with the
Just saying.
everything out there,
yeah, from Green Flash to so many other breweries that are taking hits, and I mean, Oskar Blues makes good beer, but I don't know if they needed 2 breweries on one side of the country and on another. Like, I don't know if they. Again, I'm not privy to their sales numbers. I don't know what they do, but from what I drink and what I know and what I see, I don't feel like they sell that much to justify 2 separate breweries in 2 different places in the country.
Yeah, because they got the one in Austin too. So.
That's right. So I mean, maybe they are just fucking killing it. Dallas Pale Ale sells all the beers. But I don't know.
But I mean, it's like, you mentioned Green Flash, and I think Green Flash is even more of a better comparison to Sierra Nevada, kind of in that Green Flash was one of those breweries, and they made solid beers, but they were never really overwhelming for people. No one ever had a knockout type thing. Okay, well, I'll drink this Soul Style, or I'll drink this whatever you have here, blah, 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 West Coast IPA. But you never heard about them really trying to get tracked down on things and stuff like that, which is hard because you have 6,300 breweries now. But it's kind of like people mention them kind of in that passive mode, and that's how Dell's and Oskar Blues is when you look at them as a brewer. They're kind of in that passive type thing. They're good beer, but it's not something you're going to, if you go to a store, that's not going to usually be on your first list unless, like you mentioned, okay, they're out now with the barrel-aged bourbon stout that I want. But outside of that, you're not looking for a lot of their beers that are going to jump out at you.
I will say that Green Flash, for me personally, like when I think of like breweries that are opening up East Coast facilities and Midwest facilities, like I could see, like when Stone did it, I'm like, okay, I get it. Stone's very popular. A lot of people drink their stuff. When Lagunitas did it for their Chicago brewery, I was like, okay, I get it. Oskar Blues, I kind of get it. Green Flash, never got it. Now, I never thought Green Flash sold enough or was popular enough to justify opening up an East Coast brewery. Here we are a few years later, and I'm right, which is fucking never a thing. I'm never right. But I was like, hey, that makes sense to me. Like, I never thought they sold enough. It's certainly not here, and I'd imagine that's for a lot of you guys out there. It's like I've never bought a Green Flash product or ever saw it and was like, oh man, I wish they were more readily available, or I wish I could get it fresher, because I just never really thought of Green Flash like that. The other breweries, sure, that makes sense, but them never thought it. So I'm not surprised. It's shitty that their brewery in North Carolina is going down, but I'm not surprised.
Well, they bought Alpine too, so Alpine, people from there taking a hit there too. That came under them. But the funny thing with Green Flash is that I guess we won't be doing a show on Green Flash anytime soon. But anyway,
we're going to. We're totally going to before it's out of the markets of all of us. Let's do it.
With Green Flash, it's kind of like the reason I actually came across them more. I thought they probably had one of the best marketers out there, and that was the Beer Wench, because she was like everywhere with Green Flash. But outside of that, I wouldn't have really seen them pop up as much on a lot of their stuff. She was really targeting a lot of things out there for them. And that might have been a driving factor for a lot of their stuff with their beers houses, because she was everywhere pretty much. And it was like, okay, let me try this beer, because I keep seeing her pop up on stuff. So,
who's that? The Beer Wench? Did you say the Beer Wench?
Beer Wench, yeah.
Who's the Beer Wench?
That was her name.
She on Instagram?
Yeah, she's on Instagram too, I believe. Yeah, she wrote a book and everything. So,
whoa.
I mean, she knows her beer stuff.
I never said she didn't.
Ashley, something, I can't remember her last name. But,
no hoppy floppy, if you know what I'm saying.
No, not a hoppy floppy.
All right, let's talk. You got something to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you guys think this may sound kind of stupid, but do you think sometimes that the larger expanding distribution hurts some of these breweries at times? Like Oskar Blues, when I couldn't get it here, I was like, oh, I wish I could. And then you get it, and then it's like, yeah, you don't even look at it anymore because you can get it. It's kind of the want what you can't have type.
Yeah, I think it hurts
sometimes.
I think that hurts a lot of breweries, even the smaller ones. Like exactly what you said, Todd. Like, you want what you can't get, and so much of the beer community and so much of just craft beer in general is all about the hype of stuff that's hard to get. And once you can get it, it's not as good as it once was. Not because the beer changed, the availability changed. I'm not sure that's necessarily for the Green Flash, but in general, that plays a role in the beer community for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say especially if they're smaller breweries, they're not got the macro check behind them, so to speak, because they don't have that kind of cushion in there. And they miscalculate, then they the ramification from it. That's what we saw with Green Flash. You know, everybody, you know, you look online, you think Green Flash is doing all great here and there, and if you're on the West Coast of California, all them, everybody tends to love them. But then it's kind of like they try to expand more outside of it. They're like, okay, now we got to pull back over here. Now we got to pull back over here. Okay, now we got to shut this down. They went out too quickly, which is one of the things I like about being here in Cincinnati and seeing how these breweries are doing and not trying to go out and do that. They're all taking like time on their expansion. They're not trying to rush out there. Now we've had a couple small ones that also ran into trouble because you're in a big market with 60 breweries. A couple might not make it or so, but like Todd, you get some of our beers on there, but you think how many brewers we got here? There's only like you're getting Rhinegeist, and now starting to get a little bit of Braxton. You're getting Mad Tree, but there's tons of breweries you're not getting. So they're taking their time on how they're expanding, which is a smart way to do it.
Right.
Because one thing with craft beers we talked about before, a lot of it is community oriented. So if I were to come out and say I was running Sweetwater Brewing out of Atlanta, and I come to, you know, out to one of your areas, I come to beers maybe with Eric like in Michigan, and he's like, well, I might try it, but guess what? I've got Old Nation up the street, or I've got Shorts, or I've got all this other stuff. I'm not going to really go out of my way if I have to, because I'm going to go with my breweries that are supporting the area more. So if you don't have that foothold in there somehow, I think it could hurt you.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Is exactly, I think, is what happens with a lot of these breweries. Exactly what you just mentioned. Like Eric, for instance, can't get the Three Floyd stuff, and he's probably closer to him than I am.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know if Eric, would that be something that you would look for or get on a regular basis if you were able to?
I mean, I walked in the store the other day, and there was a couple of, I mean, these were like 2016, you know, KBS out there, or some other stuff that was out there. I've walked in the store before where I've had zombie dust on shelves, and it was like fresh zombie dust, you know. Yeah. So it gets to a point where, yeah, you have to know, you know, you count your numbers. You have to know where you want to grow at, how you want to grow, where the demand is, and know where to actually push those beers. Otherwise, you misstep. It's going to cost you money, because now you're not getting a return on it, or you're getting people that, like you said, you know, we get these older beers, you know, like something like Dale's Pale Ale, like we said, you can still drink it and still be good. But some of these other breweries that aren't maybe that great, you get something that's like, well, why don't I go try this brewery again? Oh, that's when I got the beer sucked. So.
Well, it's interesting to me on the Dale's Pale Ale for sure was your all's dates on yours, and mine being February. To me, it's also somewhat of an indicator, unless are the liquor stores able to send them back if they get a certain age, or are they just stuck with them?
Yeah, I mean, I think at a certain point, my understanding is some of them are stuck with them. That's why you'll see them go to a clearance bin at some point just to get something back when the dollars they spent out for them. Yeah. But they manage their inventory based on demand. Like we talked last week, it was what beer was it? One of you weren't getting one of the beers. I can't remember what it was that they stopped selling. We did. Who did we do last week? We did
Ballast Point.
Ballast Point.
Yeah, Ballast Point. That's what it was.
Yeah,
Sculpin in general. Sculpin is really hit and miss.
Yeah, but some stores.
No, Ballast Point. Yeah, for me it was getting small and arm. And
the store wasn't really carrying them as much. They wasn't
really carrying them as much.
With them, they probably priced themselves out of a market or whatever, because there's so many other ones that are local that are going to be less, and some pretty decent beers too. So,
I guess kind of my point was on that was me having a can from February kind of tells me that Dale's Pale Ale in my area is still selling fairly decent.
Yeah.
I got one from September.
When I got an old chub, that's dated from October of last year. So
your Dale's Pale Ale sound better than old chub.
Maybe the Dale's super fresh, baby, doesn't roll on the stand the 6-week mark. Expecting. No, but
so maybe it's just it's a style and market, I guess. Maybe on
it depends on the market where like where I live at, for instance. I've got some people that drink craft. A couple places here, restaurants that actually serve craft beer now, but it is more predominant, more macro type drinking. But you know, if I walk into a store, you know, I might see an IPA that's fresh and new but I might see one that might be older too, because it's just a matter of people being fickle too and knowing the market there.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all, I mean, it's consumer based. A lot of people who buy Dale's Pale Ale might not necessarily care about the freshness.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't
at a good price, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you can get a 6-pack of it for, $10-12 or something that's relatively cheap, then you might not care that it's 3 months, 4 months old. I mean,
Yeah.
You enjoy the taste, even if it's fallen off a little bit. Who cares? I'm getting it for a substantially cheaper price,
True that.
And honestly, I didn't even look at the date on mine when I bought it. I was just going to buy it just because.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was just grabbing it just to have it for the show, and I got it the other day.
Right. Same here.
Before we go on to the final thoughts, I guess we'll read a couple comments, mostly Craig and Paul, but they're our friends, so I guess I'll read their shit-tastic comments.
Friends is a good word.
It's on you now, Joe. It's on you.
It's on me. I guess I can kind of figure it out. Paul says, no, I meant the Terrio drop. He's talking about the all about the Miller Lite, Bud Light, and Coors Light I bought for the taste testing. I understand, Paul. I understand. He says, sports entertainment, not wrestling. Well, that's if you enjoy WWE and other professional wrestling. He says, as far as me buying all those macro beers, that's on you, Joe. That's all on you. Enjoy those world-class brews. I'm going to be part of the taste testing, but I'm totally not going to enjoy it. Craig from Kent Beer Reviews, or Kent from Craig Beer Reviews, depending on who you listen to. He says, I had Old Chub Nitro about 3 years ago. That's about when they came out with Old Chub Nitro. Which was, I mean, it was cool because I don't think anyone's ever released like a wee heavy nitro like that. It's always imperial stouts or stouts in general. So I thought that was cool. Chris from on the 10th, he says 1050 was good. Barrel aged 1050 that Joe brought to last year's bottle share was not as good. Hashtag moo. Hashtag baby palate. Hashtag burn baby burn. I agree with him, not from the burning aspect, because anything over like 5% burns his palate, but yeah, I think 1050. I think 1050 as a base imperial stout, Russian imperial stout, wherever you want to deem it, is an awesome.
You don't think it needs the bourbon?
No, it doesn't. And like I'll be honest with you, I think the barrel aged version is awesome, but how much better is it than the barrel aged or the regular version? Not really all that much.
Yeah.
Not to justify.
I would agree with you.
Yeah, not to justify the more than double price tag on it.
Yeah. I was chasing that thing, put bourbon on it, and people will buy it, right?
Yeah, just take a sip of 1050 and a quick, quick
I mean,
shot.
I bought I got the one time so I can review it, but if not that, I won't buy it again, probably.
Yeah. I think price point is tough. I think they come in those the stovepipe cans, which are like 19.3% or whatever.
Right.
But like paying $13-14 for that is expensive. It's really expensive. When for like almost actually $3 or $4 cheaper, you can get an entire 4-pack of regular 1050. Stuff. Paul says, I got burnt out on 1050 after I drank a case of them, but I enjoyed the BA version. Not a big fan of anything else I've had, really. We actually did Dale's Pale Ale. It's on Paul's channel. I wholly, 100% advise you guys not to watch any of his content, especially involved in. But we did a Pale Ale blind taste testing by he had like a nice bonfire going on. We did 9 different beers, and Dale's Pale Ale was involved, and I think we gave it like a 3.25 out of 5. It did not rate well as far as blind Pale Ales go, so I'm not surprised that Paul doesn't like any other beers.
Nobody fell into the fire, so that's a win.
I mean, he pushed me in later, but it wasn't on camera. Eric said that he never had the barrel-aged 1050. Paul continues, from what I've had, I might just throw it out to a 6.5 out of 10, which would be a 3.25 out of 5, which is what we do our brewery ratings on. Paul, watch a show. He says they were worth talking about 5 years ago. Yes, they were. Then he retracted the message, which I'm sure was terrible. And then Craig says, Green Flash Palette Wrecker was awesome when I had a bottle last year. And then Paul responded with, it's okay, a bit too cat piss in my bottle. And sure didn't compare to the hype. Alpine was another that fell flat on the face for me since the hype push was so big. It didn't actually compare to the product. Two comments I have on that. Green Flash Palette Wrecker, I don't think it's really wrecking anyone's palate nowadays. And number 2, when Paul talks about Alpine, I think more often than not, you hear a lot of people who talk about Alpine being better in their heyday, and once Green Flash brought them out and like basically made them mainstream, they didn't do them justice. So, and then Craig says Duet and Hoppiness are a nice beer from Alpine. And again, Craig didn't get like the true, Southern Californian brewed Duet and Hoppiness. And neither did any of us because Green Flash took them over and then brewed them in their own facilities. Paul continues with Green Flash. West Coast was a damn fine beer. Hardywood's The Great Return took its place for a best West Coast IPA, which Hardywood is out of Richmond, Virginia, somewhere in Virginia. He said he'd like to try Zombie Dust at some point. I'm looking mostly at Todd, but maybe at Rod for hooking up Paul at some point. It's a shelf.
I can get one out to you.
Yeah, it's. I still think it's an awesome beer.
It's a great ale. Yeah,
I still think 5 years ago it was the fucking, as Matt over at Massive Beer Reviews likes to say, is the king shit of fuck mountain. That's kind of what Zombie Dust was for me in its heyday. But even the beer that Todd sent me, I think it was like a month old, still fucking great. Your homebrew, not so much, Todd. No, I'm just shitting. I just I enjoyed your flavor of your homebrew. So. I didn't like the carbonation. The carbonation was a little bit out of hand.
Well, it's actually gotten better now. I had one a couple days ago, and it's actually not as sweet, and the carbonation
nice.
Kind of back on it. So
I didn't think it was bad.
I
didn't think it was bad. It wasn't like
just a little green.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't obviously Zombie Dust, but I didn't dislike it. I just thought the carbonation was a little bit off. So
it was.
Yeah,
but it did settle down now. It's a lot better than the ones I sent you guys, which is kind of odd. Maybe it was just a little too soon. Needed a little more conditioning, I guess.
Yeah, it could have been.
Yeah.
Craig continues with, we get Green Flash West Coast brewed in Belgium for the European market. I did not know that. So they actually, I guess, brew that beer in Belgium for the.
I'm like, why? With all the good beers in Belgium, would you need to brew that there?
Yeah, that's crazy. Paul asks Craig, how was it? Craig says, really good. Even it's available in Portuguese supermarkets. Would like to try to side by side with the California version. And then Paul says, in my shops, I might see an IPA that is old, and then I may see one that is older. That's about it. No freshness in Paul Mark. And then Paul says, here they were only $9.99 a can. Well, for what beer exactly, Paul? That seems expensive for a can. Talk about barrel aged 1050 or something else. Because that seems like $10 a can seems like a lot for something that's not crazy. Last thing, I guess, is we go into final thoughts about Oskar Blues and ratings. So we'll start with Eric. Eric, final thoughts. If you feel as though you're not comfortable with like a rating or whatnot, that's cool. I know you haven't drank a lot of it, so.
I mean, with the two I've had, the Dale's Pale Ale and the 1050, I enjoy them both. I would kind of like to go out and get some of the other variants, like what Todd's got with the old Chub, and there was another one that Todd had mentioned. Oh, not the Death by Coke.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Oh, not this one. Okay, I got you.
No, sorry, not that
one. I had to, Eric. I had to.
Unless you want to see me do a drain pour of it.
Oh,
I think we would. I think we would all like to see that.
Fighting words.
But getting back to the beer, I enjoy these two. I mean, it's not something like all you guys say. It's not something that you're going to reach for all the time. Like a lot of the other beers that have came up, they've kind of gotten to the point of being maybe kind of left behind a little bit. I agree with all your guys' points there, but these two that I've had, I would like the Dale's Pale Ale. I just rated like a 3.75, and the 1050, I would probably put it at like a 4.25, right around there. That's pretty good for an imperial stout for me. So right around the 4 area for just these two. Now I haven't had any of the other variants or the other beer styles that they have, but from what I've tasted from this brewery, I'm kind of liking what I've tasted thus far, and I kind of want to get into the other beer styles from them.
Sweet. How about you, Rod?
I think they're pretty decent overall. I mean, I think they've definitely put a good quality product out there for the most part for what you'd expect. I don't think it's anything really off on their price points too much. I will say, I was thinking of the one earlier I had. There was one I wasn't a big fan of, and that was actually their Pinner. I didn't think was a great beer. But most of their other beers I've had, I think as little as maybe rated as a 3 or so, but everything else has been pretty much higher. But as far as a standout, there really wasn't anything that was a huge standout. And I got to still drink the barrel-aged 1050, see what that's going to taste like. The regular 1050 I did like. I had that like a 4.5, and I guess you could say that's a standout. And I did like the little yellow pills. But I think they've proven themselves. They've done well over a period of time. They're still growing with some. We'll see how they hold out. But like I said, it's not something you race around to try to pick up. But if someone hands me a Oskar Blues beer, pretty much I'm not going to be disappointed or anything. I'm going to drink it with no problem. So I think they're solid across the board along those lines for the most part. As far as like any type of rating for their brewery, I'd probably put them at about a 3.5, 3.75, somewhere in that area. I think they're decent. They're dependable. Like I said, they're like old slippers, so you can count on them. They may have had some age on them, but they still are dependable. You can still enjoy their beer, and you're not really getting disappointed across the board with them. So probably I was at 3.75 with them.
You're here to hear, folks, first. Oskar Blues equals dependable old slippers.
I see you like that one.
I do like that one. How about you, Todd? Rating and your final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the same lines of what Rod J was saying and Eric as well. Good, dependable brewery. Nothing, although they're starting to expand a little bit with their hot box coffee and some of their barrel aged, the barrel aged 1050 and the coconut, the coconut death by coconut. So yeah, they are expanding a little bit, but they are kind of, I want to say, in the box for the most part and do their standard stuff pretty good. I like their. I'm a big fan, but I like their double IPAs, the Gubna and the Deviant Dales. I think both are pretty solid. I'm a big fan of the 1050, and kind of would agree with Joe on that. The 1050 is alone without barrel aging is just as good. The barrel aged is nice. I'd probably put them at a 3.75. I've not really been disappointed. I would agree with Rod on the Penner. I don't think it's all that outstanding. But, yeah, for the most part, they're if you can see them and your options are limited, you're not going to go wrong with grabbing anything from Oskar Blues, I don't think.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with most of you guys. I think the one thing that I'll slightly disagree, but like I think for me, 1050 is such a good beer, and the barrel aged version is really good. And I'm a huge fan. Like I like Old Chub, and I think Oskar Blues does a great job at a lot of the styles they produce. There are styles that I don't necessarily think are anything special, like Dale's Pale Ale. Penner, I'm right there with you guys. Like, I think I gave it like a 3.25 or 3.5 on Untappd, and that's probably being generous. But I think
I gave it a 2.25.
Yeah, I think Oskar Blues in general, like what they do is really good, but I feel like they're 2 or 3 years behind the times. That said, if I can get barrel aged 1050 or regular 1050 on a regular basis, I'll buy it. I think, again, this is just personal preference, but I think that beer alone kind of propels it into the 4 out of 5 range for me. Without that beer, they're probably like 3.5 at best. But I feel like 1050 is one of my favorite Imperial Stouts, period. End of story. Like it's so well made. The fact that it's like one of the first Imperial Stouts in a can and that it's readily available. I know it's seasonal, but like you never have any problem getting it. It's well priced for what it is. It's a fucking great beer. It really is. Paul in the comments, I'm not going to read them yet, but he did. I just want to reference what he said. He said he bought 8 barrel-aged 1050s because they were only $9.99 a can. And if they were $9.99 a can, I'd probably buy 8 of them as well. They do a good job. I feel kind of bad for them. I feel that they're kind of in the realm of the Green Flashes of the world, of where I feel like a year or two from now, we're going to be talking about them closing down their East Coast brewery and like scaling back and stuff. And it's a shame, but anybody who has been drinking craft beer for a significant amount of time and seeing the growth of all these breweries and the expansion of all these breweries, it's makes sense. There's over 6,000 breweries in the U.S. now. What Oskar Blues was doing 5 years ago doesn't necessarily translate to what the craft beer market is nowadays. So I feel for Oskar Blues in that regard, but they're going to be all right. They're going to be all right. And they're a good brewery. If somebody out there hasn't had an Oskar Blue beer, like if you haven't had anything from Oskar Blues, A, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Try something else. And B, if you do try something, start with a pale ale, hit up 1050 and give it a go. But I feel like in a couple of years, it's going to be one of those breweries that like kind of goes to the wayside and not many people will be buying it. I mean, in all honesty, I bought a Death by Coconut because A, I love coconut, B, I like the beer. But like you would have to force me to buy an Oskar Blue beer for this hangout. They're not just hanging out in my fridge. They're nothing I really think about on a regular basis. So even though I'm giving a 4 out of 5, I'd say the caveat being they'd probably be like a 3.75 without 1050. So that's where I'd end it.
So you think one beer can carry that much when you're waiting of the brewery?
When it's that fucking good, yes. Like I don't say that for a lot of breweries, but like 1050 to me is, like I said, top tier imperial stout, and I feel like it's just such a good beer. And like I said, the barrel age variant is fantastic. So for me, it carries a lot of weight.
Some broad
especially for them where they're not overabundant in beers, where they're just not making so many. You know, they're just smaller range of beers. So I can see where one beer could carry weight like it did.
Great point, Todd. Great point, because I think so many of these. I mean, if we were talking about Stone right now, like how many beers are in the market? They're saturated. Oskar Blues isn't saturated in the market. They have what they have, and at any single time, you can go to the beer store and they have 2, 3, 4, 5 beers.
Right.
1050 is one of those beers to me. It's just like, it's so damn good that I don't care if you release Pinner in 75 different variants. It trumps all that bullshit. For me, again, this is, we talk about personal opinions, but this is for me. Not that I'm giving like a 5 out of 5 or something. I'm giving a 4 out of 5. I mean, you guys give them 3.5, 3.75. I feel for me, 1050 bumps them up that extra quarter point, because the beer is 1050 for me is like one of those classic American beers that I feel like everyone should try at some point. I'm not saying it's going to blow everyone's socks out, but like, come on. It's amazing. Like 1050 is an amazing imperial stout. It's really good. At the very least, it's really good for everybody. So yeah, it does carry it a little bit, Rod. Yes, it does.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with you on that.
All right. I know Paul said he thinks his 3.25 wasn't too off or unfair.
No, and again,
it doesn't matter what you like from the brewery too. So
yeah, I mean, Paul clearly hates Hell's Pale Ale, which I think is a far cry from all of us. I don't think any of us are enamored with the beer, but at the same time, we feel it's decent at the very least. So I'm yelling right at you, Paul. He said, "Don't yell at Joe." I'm yelling at you because you're a piece of shit, Paul. I'm just kidding.
You got to remember, Paul drinks everything at 195 degrees. So
that's right. Like at the end of Paul's like sessions, he has blisters on his tongue. I'm not sure he even taste anything after that.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's something. If I have one, it doesn't bother me to have one. You know, if I'm looking at a cooler of craft beer or shelf of craft beer, probably not one I'm going to grab off of it, but you know, it has its place. It has its moments. Certain spots it'll shine a little bit better, but all in all, it's pretty decent.
I think Paul has a great comment here. This is not really about Oskar Blues, but craft beer in general. He says, I can't believe Paul has a great comment. Holy shit.
Saw that too.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Joe, you must be drunk for real.
No, hashtag that was me. He says,
I was kind of shocked by Paul's comment there too.
Yeah. He was like Trags. He said Trags instead of Trogs, because that's Paul. He said Trogs was getting stagnant, but is now moving again. Dependable is one thing, but stagnancy is a killer in the micro world, which he's right. Like, you can try to rest on your laurels when it comes to craft beer, but if you're not moving with the times, you're getting left behind. That's just how. But that goes from almost anything in the business world. You need a pulse on the situation of what's happening. And a lot of these brewers are like, well, in 2011 we were selling it. That's cool. 2011 was 7 years ago. Like, you can't reference 7 years ago and be like everything's okay now, because it's totally not. So,
right. Well, the only thing I would say to that is there are some rules, some exceptions to the rule, in that you better have one hell of a beer if you don't have to do that, for instance, because there are some people that aren't chasing a New England hazy IPA, and they're still doing well because they got other decent beers and other lines too.
Like Sierra Nevada. Nevada, okay, they have Pale Ale, and Pale Ale's, I would say Pale Ale is the most iconic.
Yeah, but they went hazy little thing. They tried to cash in on it.
They did, but like if they didn't, they sell enough Pale Ale to for a long time to be okay.
Up for it. That Hot Bullet's pretty good.
I haven't had the Hot Bullet. Was it good?
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's what they're better at. It was a double IPA. Don't try getting all fancy going to England with the hazy little thing. This is your lane right here. Stay in your lane.
You're in the West Coast. Don't try to do. I did pick up today at the beer store when I was getting hammered. I did manage somehow. And
that's always a fun time to shop, by the way, too.
Oh, it was so good. I was like, this sounds great. And then when I did that, I was putting New England style IPA from Sam Adams in my fucking 6-pack. Makes a 6-pack. I'm like, this sounds like it's 225 cat. It's great. But so I picked that up. So we'll see how they do. Like, I don't know. You want to keep with the times, but like, you gotta, as The Rock would say, circa 2000, 1999, know your role and shut your mouth. A lot of these breweries don't do that. They're like, we gotta jump with the times. We get whatever's hot's hot. It's like, if you're Sierra Nevada or you're New Belgium, you don't have to do all this crazy shit. Enough people buy your stuff.
Or as Joe Dirt would say, it's not about you, it's about the consumer.
That's right. Dang.
Now, Joe, did you realize that you just quoted The Rock?
I did quote The Rock. I did say, know your role and shut your mouth. I did say that.
You didn't use
no, what The Rock is cooking. Yes, I did all that. I'm probably not going to remember this tomorrow, but I remember it right now.
Well, any other final comments on Oskar Blues? Or
I'm going to seek out their stuff a little bit more. I mean, like I said, with the two that I've had, I'm going to seek out a couple of their other beers and kind of see how they are. So
you have
a review of the brewery for sure.
You've sold Eric on it, so that's a win already.
Right, you should, Eric. I mean, if those are the only two you've had, you should try some of their other stuff just to get a full range of their base stuff, to see what they have.
I was debating on getting their variety pack, but I think after these two and us having this little collab, I think I might just go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I don't
Death by Coconut, top of your list, though, right?
Yeah, if it's Death by Coconut, Joe, I'm going to send them to you.
Eric, as a man who may not tolerate coconut all that well, I still feel you should pick it up just to see. Shits and gigs. Sure, your viewers are appreciated.
We should run that video one episode about Eric did the video. Coconut was in the beer. That's one of the funniest videos.
Yeah.
My wife was cracking up listening to his video. Like, he does not like coconut.
I do not like coconut.
I am the yang to his yin. Like, where he doesn't like coconut, I do. We even out this chat, certainly.
Yeah. I think that's the wrap here, and then we turn it over to Eric.
You ready for my drunk PSA? For last week?
Last week was hard to follow up on.
I feel like I'm the one that should try to do the PSA because I'm literally drunk, Eric. But
Joe, I can take it over to you to have you try it.
Oh, I'm good. You can do it.
Do you need the background music?
Also, before he does do it, though, shout out to everyone who commented: Paul, Chris, Craig, everyone else. Paul has a couple last comments about I don't know.
Go ahead and do those first, Joe.
Nah, it doesn't matter.
Rolling down your phone.
It's Paul. Matter. But yeah, Chris, Craig, Backwoods Billy, Craig, who is Beer Patrol #1 super fan. What a piece of shit. We have Paul, and it's pretty much the main people who are commenting tonight. So thanks to all those guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, guys, and if you had too much to drink, please get a designated driver. Get an Uber, taxi, Lyft, just somebody, because we all want to see you back here next week. But if you're going to be a hero and drive home drunk, you're going to get pulled over by the cops. They're going to make you do the stupid-ass sobriety test, make you look like a fool. Then you get a ride to jail. Then you have court fees and then possible prison time. And then if you hit or kill somebody, you're going to be in the slammer for a while. And if you kill yourself, all you've done is hurt your family and friends, all right? Just make the smart decision and get a designated driver, okay? Because we don't want to see you back here next week.
There you go. I feel like somebody's like we've had that so many times that Eric does the PSA. Somebody is going to screw up and get stopped. Not anybody here in that, but somebody.
Yeah, I used to
they're going to be like, I'm not doing your stupid sobriety test.
I mean, when I was at the place tonight, in my mind, I was like, listen to Eric. Get a designated
You were not.
driver.
You were not.
I was like,
Little Eric sitting on your shoulder.
Little
going,
Eric was like,
call
drink
somebody,
all
call somebody.
call somebody, but also drink all that coconut beer. I was like, all right.
You know, I'm surprised somebody hasn't made a meme of my PSA yet.
Give it time, Eric.
Oh, give it time.
The thumbnails will begin.
Yes, thumbnails will begin.
Are we doing an after anything or no?
Are you eligible to do an after one? Are you good to
Yo,
go?
I'm here. I'm
I
conscious.
mean, we're doing an after one. I got a chocolate banana stout. I'm dying to taste, so I can do an after one.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I have being passed out on camera that I'm willing to bring to the table.
But well, we may be back with the after one, and definitely appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight.
Thank you, Rod, for hosting as always.
Yeah. And a big dedication again to the Beer Patrol, who is now one of the boys with his own channel.
Woo!
Yeah, that's what you do. You start a channel and get hammered on a live show. I mean, what else do you do?
So make sure you check out his station and give him a subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Give him a couple thumbs ups out there. Give him some comments. Let him know.
Well, give us all some thumbs up.
Just give him a hashtag Go
Everybody.
Sabres.
No, do not. The Sabres are going nowhere at all quickly.
But next week, well, I guess we'll decide what we want to do for next week. Come up with some type of idea along those lines.
Or let us know down in the comments what you guys want us to do next week, too. But
do
it's
it
got to be something that all of us can get.
And there is a
do-
playlist now on the channel with all the beer flows, so you can see what we've done.
I was going to say, if you care to do research, check out the actual Beer Flow show, because even Rod doesn't know what we've done on a regular basis. So when the host of the show is uncertain of what breweries we've done, we're in trouble.
We've had a good amount of different ones, yeah.
Places.
Or maybe we'll do some mixing up some other type beer flow shows. We'll do maybe we'll do some beers, bring a beer and match a pizza to it or something. Some kind of things I know.
Yeah,
Recently, we had
pizza.
It's about pineapple on pizza. So what would you
Yeah.
Oh, my God, don't even get me started on pineapple and pizza.
We don't want fights, Rod. Like we don't want like fist fights, but like that might happen. So I'm on board to watch this happen.
Hey, on the 10th says he wants us to do AB and Bev.
Chris, I love you, but
Joe wasn't here. We talked about the beer earlier. So AB and Bev's coming out with a bourbon beer with Jim Beam in September.
I would say I'm frozen, but I'm not. I don't want to. I don't.
The look on your face just said it all.
I'm not on board. We'll just say I'm not on board.
So who knows?
You'll try it, though. You'll try it.
I try.
Don't lie, Joe.
I don't
You'll
want to.
have it.
I'm going to review it first thing whenever it comes out. It's queued up, boys. It's queued up.
Yeah, we still got to do the Pabst APA too. So
No, we don't. Actually, I had that in my hands at the beer store, and I was like, "Am I going to?" No, I'm not. I'm going to put this back in the cooler and just pretend I picked it up. Yeah. It's not. No, not happy.
You kind of get drawn to when you see it there. Like I've done it myself, and it's like, no, not today, not today.
I was like, I'm sure it'd get some probably pretty good views, and I'm sure people would be curious, but I'm not one of those people. So I'm gonna put it back.
Paul was not a fan of pineapple on the pizza.
Paul doesn't like fruit in general. He likes meat, and a bit more meat.
We do a pizza and beer. We'll have to have Paul on the way with the slice of pizza, because the way he eats a slice of pizza, it's just incredible.
I mean, I don't. So just for the viewers out there, I don't think you've ever seen Paul eat a pizza. It's not a slice. He actually has folded up the pizza and eats it like a steak sub or something. It's amazing to watch. He's just like, oh, like, what is that? I actually asked him what he's doing. I was like, that's a whole pizza? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I gotta leave. I can't comprehend this right now.
Does he roll it up and eat it like a burrito?
No, he did.
You don't know what a pizza is and where his arm is. It's just
Eric, I wish you would just like, I know you're joking around, but he totally rolled it up like a burrito and ate the entire
I didn't realize it was a
5
whole
minutes,
piece.
and I was just like, I never want to see this again.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Paul said, "Did we do Jackie O?" We did not. I don't know if we all can get Jackie O.
I gotta look. I
don't.
Hey, Paul, why don't you send us all Jackie O so we can do it?
I can drive to Rod's neighborhood and pick some up, but I can't get.
Well, what kind of Jackie O's was he? Oh, is that was his brewery? I got a bunch of Jackie O's.
Yeah, that's in Athens, Ohio.
I got a bunch of them.
He said, "Fold it like a
Of course you
burrito."
do.
Of course I do. Why would I want to have Jackie O's?
Why wouldn't you?
I have like a half dozen different varieties from them.
You guys all get heavy C's.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
I can get heavy C's, yes.
I have some of those.
Just down to the East Coast.
Actually, that's coming up for Saturday night.
Yeah, we want to. Oh, Jesus, we want to make sure that Billy doesn't have an orgasm on camera. Make sure that he doesn't lose his shit.
He's right there. He's right there with.
He's ready to go with some heavy C's. No doubt.
Well, we'll decide. We'll think about it. We'll get back. But thanks for everybody that watched tonight, and I guess we're going to shut it down. I can't believe we still have 6 people watching out there.
That's on them.
Yeah,
it is on them.
And who knows? We may come back and do the after hours, see if Joe passes out. And
I guarantee I don't pass out, but I don't know if I'm going to be coherent for the rest of the day. Let's see what happens.
Give me some more coconut.
Yeah, there's never enough coconut. Like I had 3 coconut beers tonight, and I'm still not satisfied.
Well, I'm about to throw down this chocolate banana stout here in a little bit.
Oh, dude, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch you drink it. What's my life become?
Well, we'll catch up with you guys next time. Keep drinking those good craft beers. Remember, there's always time. Get your beer on.
Cheers.